Welcome to Private Stories, where people discover who they really are.
The weekend began like any other quiet Saturday morning. Daniel Carter woke up later than usual, the pale winter light slipping through the curtains of their suburban home in Colorado. For a moment, everything felt normal, peaceful, predictable. He leaned over and gently kissed his wife, Samantha, on the shoulder. They had spent nearly 2 decades together, 17 years of shared routines, laughter, arguments, and raising 2 daughters. She stirred slightly, brushing him away without opening her eyes. "Not now, I'm sleeping," she murmured, her voice distant and detached. Daniel paused for a second. That distance, he had been feeling it more and more lately. He said nothing. Instead, he got up and headed toward the bathroom. On the way, he heard soft giggling and muffled arguing coming from their eldest daughter's room, Emily and Chloe. The younger one was clearly trying to drag her sister out of bed. Their voices bounced through the hallway, alive, warm, careless. Daniel allowed himself a faint smile. At least something in this house was still simple. After a shower, he dressed and walked into the kitchen. By then, both girls were already sitting at the table, still half asleep but hungry. "Are we eating today or just starving?" Emily asked with mock seriousness. Daniel chuckled. "You're still going to school, remember?" Chloe rolled her eyes dramatically. "Dad, it's winter break." He blinked. "Right, of course," he exhaled, shaking his head. "Okay, fine, then go wash up. Breakfast will be ready in 15 minutes. He moved quickly, preparing oatmeal, toast, and eggs, simple things but made with care. This was his role, his place, and he had always taken it seriously. A few minutes later, Samantha walked into the kitchen. Her blonde hair fell loosely over her shoulders. She was wearing one of his shirts, oversized, slightly wrinkled, effortlessly attractive. Even now, even after all these years. One glance at her still did something to him, but that feeling no longer came with warmth. It came with something else, uncertainty. She sat down at the table, her expression composed. "Girls, eat and start packing. Your dad will take you to my parents today. You'll spend the holidays there." The girls froze. "What?" Chloe protested. "You promised we'd go to the ski resort. We already packed everything." "Yeah, we were supposed to celebrate New Year together," Emily added, her voice tightening. Samantha sighed, calm but firm. "Plans change. We'll go another time, maybe spring break." "That doesn't even make sense," Emily muttered. Daniel said nothing, but inside something shifted. This wasn't just a change of plans. This felt deliberate, calculated. He had noticed it before: small changes, emotional distance, late nights. The way Samantha had started guarding her phone, and then there was Nathan Reynolds, the new commercial director at her company, her former college boyfriend. Daniel knew more than she thought, not everything, but enough. He placed the plates on the table and watched his daughters eat in silence. And in that silence, a realization slowly settled in. This weekend wasn't ordinary. Something was about to happen, and whatever it was, it would change everything. The kitchen gradually fell into a heavy, unnatural silence. Only the faint clinking of spoons against plates broke it. Daniel watched Samantha carefully. She avoided his gaze, focusing on her coffee as if it required her full attention. But he knew her too well. She was preparing herself for something. He finished his breakfast, stood up, and quietly walked to the bathroom. Locking the door behind him, he leaned against the sink and stared at his reflection. His face looked the same, but something inside him had already shifted. From the shelf, he picked up his phone, opened a recording app, and turned it on. If this conversation was coming, and he was certain it was, he wanted clarity, facts, no confusion later. He slipped the phone into the inner pocket of his shirt and returned to the kitchen. Samantha was still sitting there, waiting. She looked up as he entered. For a brief moment she smiled, soft, familiar. Then it vanished, replaced by something serious, almost rehearsed. "Daniel, we need to talk." There it was. He pulled out a chair and sat down slowly, keeping his expression neutral. Sure, what's wrong? She took a breath, folding her hands together. Everything is fine, she began. You know I love you. I've always loved you. You've been an incredible husband, an amazing father to the girls. Daniel tilted his head slightly, and she hesitated, but only for a second. I've been thinking a lot lately about relationships, about marriage, about what makes them last and what destroys them. He exhaled quietly. Here we go. I studied sociology, you remember, she continued, her tone becoming more confident. I still follow research, trends, patterns in long-term relationships. Samantha, he interrupted calmly, can you just get to the point? A flicker of irritation crossed her face. I am serious, Daniel. So am I. She straightened her posture. Most marriages fail because people become stagnant. They stop exploring themselves, their desires, their individuality. They get stuck. Daniel said nothing. He simply watched her. We need to avoid that, she said. We need to be proactive. And how exactly do you suggest we do that? She paused and then said it. I think we should take a temporary break from our marriage. The words hung in the air. Cold, precise, almost clinical. Daniel didn't react immediately. He just looked at her. How temporary? 2 weeks, she said quickly. Just the holiday break. He let out a quiet, almost amused breath. 2 weeks, he repeated. Yes, time for both of us to explore, reflect, understand ourselves better, meet new people, experience new environments, so that when we come back we'll be stronger, more connected. Daniel leaned back in his chair. For a moment he actually wondered if she could hear how absurd it sounded. Let me get this straight, he said slowly. You want us to separate during the holidays so we can explore ourselves with other people, and that's supposed to save our marriage. It's not like that, she said quickly. It sounds exactly like that. You're twisting it. No, he replied calmly. I'm simplifying it. She exhaled sharply. You're being emotional. And you're being naive, he said, his voice still steady. Her eyes narrowed slightly. I'm trying to protect our family by suggesting we sleep with other people. That's not what I said. It's exactly what you meant. Silence, heavy, tense. Then Daniel leaned forward slightly, his gaze locking onto hers. This wouldn't happen to have anything to do with Nathan, would it? For the first time she froze, just for a second, but it was enough. I don't know what you're talking about, she said. Daniel nodded slowly. Your new director, your former boyfriend, the one you somehow forgot to mention when he joined your company. Her lips parted slightly. You're overthinking this. No, he said quietly. I'm finally thinking clearly. Her composure cracked just a little. There is nothing going on. Not yet, Daniel replied, but you're planning it. That's not true. Then why now? He asked. Why this idea? Why send the girls away? Why these exact 2 weeks? She didn't answer immediately, and that silence said more than anything else. Daniel nodded again, almost to himself. Got it. Daniel, listen. No, he said, raising a hand slightly. You listen. His voice didn't rise, but something inside it hardened. You're wrong about one thing. She frowned. What? You said nothing would change. He looked at her, his eyes now completely different. Everything already has. Samantha's fingers tightened around her cup. Daniel, you're overreacting, she said, but her voice had lost its earlier uve-ye-er-ye-n-n-a-s-te-yeri. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stood up slowly, walked to the counter, and poured himself a glass of water. His movements were calm, controlled, almost too controlled. When he turned back, his face looked colder than she had ever seen it. What exactly do you think is happening right now? He asked quietly. I told you, we're trying to protect our marriage. No, he replied. You're trying to justify a betrayal before it happens. Her expression hardened. I haven't done anything. Not physically, he said, but mentally, emotionally. You crossed that line a long time ago. That's not fair. What's not fair, Daniel cut in, is pretending this is some kind of scientific experiment instead of what it actually is. And what is it? She snapped. A convenient way for you to spend 2 weeks with another man and come back pretending nothing happened. That's not true. Then say his name doesn't matter to you, Daniel said, stepping closer. Say Nathan Reynolds means nothing. She opened her mouth, closed it, and in that moment everything became clear. Daniel nodded once. Yeah, he whispered, that's what I thought. Daniel, please. No, he said again, sharper this time. We're done explaining. Her eyes widened. What do you mean? I mean, he said, his voice now firm and final, I'm filing for divorce. The word hit her like a physical air. What? No, you can't just. I can, he interrupted, and I will. I said I'd cancel everything. She rushed out. No break, no separation, nothing. We'll forget this ever happened. Daniel let out a quiet, almost bitter laugh. You don't get it, do you? I'm trying to fix it. No, he said. You're trying to undo consequences. That's the same thing. It's not. He stepped back, creating distance between them, literal and emotional. You already made your choice when you thought I'd agree to this. I didn't think. Exactly, he said coldly. You didn't. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Samantha's voice dropped, almost desperate. What about the girls? That made him pause just for a second. They're my priority, he said. Which is exactly why I'm not staying in a marriage like this. They need both parents. They need honesty more. They'll hate you for this. Daniel's expression darkened. No, he said quietly, they'll understand. At that exact moment, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Emily appeared in the doorway. Dad, we're ready. Her voice was careful, observant. She had heard enough. Daniel turned to her and instantly his tone softened. Give me 5 minutes, okay? She nodded, but her eyes flicked briefly toward her mother, cold, distant. Then she disappeared back down the hall. Samantha noticed it too, and for the first time real fear crossed her face. They heard us, she whispered. Daniel didn't deny it. Kids always hear more than we think. This is a mistake, she said, shaking her head. We can fix this. We can go back. There is no back, Samantha. Her get les yeri sl. You're throwing everything away. No, he said quietly, you did that. The words landed with brutal finality. Daniel turned, walked out of the kitchen, and within minutes returned dressed, a travel bag slung over his shoulder. He didn't look at her, didn't say goodbye. The front door opened. Cold winter air rushed inside, and then it closed. Samantha stood alone in the silence of the house. For a few seconds she didn't move. Then she rushed to the window. Outside, Daniel was helping the girls into the car, a dark gray SUV. Snow crunched under his boots as he moved around to the driver's seat. He didn't look back, not once. The engine started, the car pulled away, and just like that, her perfectly controlled plan collapsed. Inside the car, no one spoke at first. The road stretched ahead, covered in thin layers of snow, reflecting the pale sky. Finally, Emily broke the silence. Dad. He glanced at her in the rearview mirror. Yes. She hesitated, then asked quietly, Are you and Mom getting divorced? Daniel's grip on the steering wheel tightened slightly. Why do you ask that? Emily exchanged a quick look with Chloe. Because we heard everything. Chloe leaned forward slightly. I'm on your side, she said. Daniel felt something twist inside his chest. And you? He asked gently, looking at Emily. She didn't hesitate. Me too. A long silence followed. Then Chloe asked the question that mattered most. Where are we going? Daniel looked ahead at the road. Then finally a small, genuine smile appeared. You were promised a ski trip, right? The girl straightened instantly. Wait, seriously. Yes, he said, we're going to a ski resort. But Mom said. I know what she said. He paused, but I keep my promises. The mood in the car shifted, not completely, but enough. Outside, the city slowly faded behind them, and for the first time that day, Daniel felt like he was finally moving forward. The drive took several hours. Snow-covered highways stretched endlessly ahead, framed by pine forests and distant mountains. Inside the car, the tension from the morning slowly faded, replaced by cautious excitement. Emily and Chloe began talking again, first quietly, then more freely. For Daniel, their voices were grounding. They reminded him why he made the decision he did. By late afternoon, they arrived at a secluded ski resort in Aspen, far from the noise of the city. A close friend of Daniel's, Michael Hayes, managed the place. When Daniel had called him earlier, explaining everything briefly, Michael didn't hesitate. Come, I'll take care of you, he had said. And he did. A cozy wooden cabin waited for them, warm lights glowing through the windows, smoke curling from the chimney. Inside, it smelled like pine wood and fresh food. Whoa, Chloe whispered. This is insane. Emily smiled for the first time that day. Daniel exhaled slowly. For a moment, everything felt okay. The days that followed were filled with motion, skiing down wide, open slopes, laughing when someone fell, hot chocolate in the evenings, music, dancing, people everywhere. The girls adapted quickly. Kids always do. But at night, when everything went quiet, Daniel sat alone by the fireplace, thinking, replaying, understanding. He listened to the recording from that morning more than once. Each time his decision became clearer. There was no going back. Meanwhile, back in Denver, Samantha's world was unraveling. At first, she tried to regain control. She called Nathan. No answer, again, nothing. Finally, someone picked up, but it wasn't him. A woman's voice, cold, sharp. Who is this? Samantha hesitated. I'm looking for Nathan. A short laugh came from the other side. You're one of them, aren't you? Excuse me. He's gone, the woman said. I kicked him out. Don't call here again. The line went dead. Samantha stared at her phone. Her hands were shaking. Everything she thought she understood collapsed. Days passed. Daniel didn't come back. He didn't answer her calls, and when she reached out to his parents, the truth hit even harder. He told us everything, his father said calmly. You broke this family, Samantha. No, I was trying to save it, he interrupted, by destroying trust. She had no answer. For days later, Daniel still hadn't returned. That's when panic truly set in. She searched his computer, checked his messages. Nothing. Then she realized something simple. He had kept his promise, the ski trip. He didn't abandon his daughters. He just left her behind. When Daniel finally returned home a week later, everything had changed. Not just emotionally, physically. Emily and Chloe immediately began moving their things. What are you doing? Samantha asked, confused. Dad's staying in Chloe's room now, Emily said calmly. We'll share mine. Samantha blinked. What, why? Daniel stepped inside, setting down grocery bags. That's not a question you don't know the answer to. Her voice trembled. Daniel, please, let's talk. We are talking, he replied. "No, we need to fix this." He looked at her, and for the first time, there was nothing left in his eyes. "I already fixed it." The process moved quickly after that. Lawyers, documents, court. Samantha tried everything: apologies, explanations, tears. But something fundamental had broken, and Daniel refused to pretend otherwise. The hardest moment came in court. Not for Daniel, for Samantha. When the judge asked the girls who they wanted to live with, they didn't hesitate. "With our dad." Both of them clear, certain, final. Samantha closed her eyes. That was the moment she truly lost everything. In the end, she gave up her share of the apartment, agreed to financial support, moved back to care for her aging parents. Her life became quiet, empty in a way she never expected. Daniel, on the other hand, rebuilt, slowly, carefully. His world became smaller but stronger, focused. His daughters, their future, their trust. A year later, during another winter trip, something unexpected happened. He met someone, Claire Morgan. She wasn't flashy, not loud, not dramatic, but she was real, kind, present, and most importantly, honest. The girls liked her. That mattered. Everything else came second. As for Nathan, he disappeared completely. No one knew where he went, and in the end, he didn't matter. He was never the real problem. The real problem had been a single decision, a moment where trust was treated like something flexible, replaceable, optional. It was, and it never would be again. Daniel stood one evening on the balcony of the cabin, watching his daughters laugh in the snow below. The cold air hit his face, sharp and clean. For the first time in a long time, he felt peace. Not because everything was perfect, but because everything was honest, and that was enough.
Thank you for watching this video to the end. Visit our channel for interesting and intriguing stories.